From within the low grass, a shape slithered forward like a ghost-silent swift. It was a lion, the apex predator, approaching its target with surgical precision. No sound, no warning, only a quiet death, breathing closer with each step. It sprang, a perfect pounce guided by instincts sharpened over millennia of evolution. But this time something unexpected happened. The prey did not flee. It didn't turn to run. It stood its ground, lowered its stance, and stared straight into the eyes of the hunter. Before the lion stood a Cape buffalo, a creature known across the savannah for its strength and unyielding courage. Not an easy meal, but a challenger willing to die on its feet. When horn met flesh, the air seemed to shudder. The lion's body was tossed crashing to the earth like an amateur in its first fight. The upper hand vanished. All that remained was dazed confusion.
No, well, she's dead. She's in the water.
From one pounce, everything reversed. The hunter became the hunted. Think you know how it ends, brace yourself. Because what comes next will leave you breathless in every frame. At 6:20 a.m., we came across a large herd of buffalo. The safari vehicle carried 21 family members from around the world, filled with excitement and togetherness. But just 20 minutes later, all that peace was broken. A radio signal guided us to the last known location of a lion pride. By 6:46, the lions began to move, and we decided to follow. Their destination? The grazing buffalo herd. Just a few minutes later, at 6:53, 2 male lions joined 3 lionesses. The distance between them and a small calf was perilously close. In an instant, the lionesses charged and brought the calf down. A lion cub emerged from the nearby thicket. I quickly reached for my video camera while my wife and kids started taking photos. As we were all still trying to make sense of the chaos, something unexpected happened. The buffalo didn't stand still. They gathered strength, moving forward as one. Led by the bulls, they formed a front line and launched a counterattack. But what struck me the most was the mother. She didn't back down. Alone, she stood against the pride to protect her calf. And in that defining moment, her bravery gave the calf a chance to escape. But that same act made her the target, and she paid the ultimate price.
You just slapped him.
A pride of lions seemed to have the upper hand during an attack on a buffalo herd. But things quickly spiraled out of control when the buffalo turned back and fought. Chaos erupted. A group of buffalo wheeled around, charging headfirst into the lions. An old lion, already injured, failed to escape in time. It was knocked down and trampled repeatedly for 15 relentless minutes. Its body suffered severe damage, left drained under the herd's fury. The pride eventually returned to intervene, ending the onslaught. The old lion survived, though badly wounded. After 4 years of limping through the wild, it now faced another life or death trial. In nature, only the truly resilient endure to the end. A calf was left behind in the open wilderness, and the watchful eyes of predators didn't miss the opportunity. On March 21, 2017, at the Mujahideen Reserve Veteran Guide, Cliff Butlin and his guests witnessed a life and death moment unfold right before them. At first, the herd had successfully rescued the calf from a lion ambush. But as they moved on and chaos erupted, the young one couldn't keep up. Alone behind the bushes, it called out for its mother, unintentionally drawing the attention of nearby predators. The lions turned back, honing in on the vulnerable calf. Its mother never returned. She may have been injured, or perhaps the herd rejected the calf due to the scent of lions now clinging to it. Cliff shared, "Everything happened exactly as I expected, a moment that was both heartbreaking and raw." That night, the lion pride lingered in the area. One misstep, one cry, and the calf's fate was sealed.
Okay, quiet, quiet.
Two lions, one old, one young, sat calmly, basking in their moment of triumph. Before them lay a buffalo calf, recently brought down. There was no rush. They rested, alert, their eyes scanning the horizon, watching for any sign of the herd's return. And then it happened. The ground began to tremble with the thunder of determined hooves. The buffalo herd returned, not as retreating prey, but as a force reclaiming their own. Out of the hundreds, one bull charged ahead. In a blink, it rammed the calf with a mighty blow, not to harm it, but to lift it free from the lion's claws. That strike was a message, a fierce warning to the predators. We are back, and this time, we will not back down. The lions hesitated, stepping back. Instinct told them the hunt was no longer safe. In the wild, strength doesn't always lie in claws or fangs. Sometimes it roars from the courage and unity of those who seem weakest. On a misty morning in the savannah, the Mungani lion pride was tracking a large herd of buffalo. Alongside them were 9 cubs, young and still learning the harsh rules of survival. Suddenly, the buffalo turned and launched a counterattack. One frightened lion cub scrambled up a fallen marula tree for safety. But the buffalo weren't letting up. They surrounded the base of the tree, eyes locked on the tiny predator.
Climbing the tree.
A lead buffalo charged forward, slamming into the trunk. A branch snapped. The cub slipped, narrowly avoiding a deadly blow. Another violent strike uprooted the entire tree. The cub tumbled to the ground, landing right beneath the buffalo's hooves. By sheer luck, a branch caught on the buffalo's back, throwing it off balance. The cub seized the moment, sprang to its feet, and dashed back to safety. A narrow escape in the rawest theater of the wild. A massive male lion, alone and full of might, did the unthinkable. He brought down a full-grown bull buffalo all by himself. The confrontation took place in the dry riverbed of Biamiti, where the lion faced not only a massive prey, but also the fierce resistance of the herd trying to rescue one of their own. Amid clouds of swirling dust, echoing roars, and the thunder of hooves, the lion never gave in. With decisive bites and relentless holds in a breathless struggle, he succeeded in subduing the buffalo. It seemed the hunt was over, but the lion didn't stop. He used every ounce of strength to drag the carcass across the dry riverbed, undeterred by the heat and the watching eyes of the herd in the distance. Every step was a testament to power and will. This was more than a meal. It was a declaration. In nature, true strength belongs to those who never quit. Who do you think would win? A trio of lions, 3 hyenas, or a lone buffalo? But in a surprising twist, it was an Audi that got caught in the chaos.
Engine on and in gear, okay, 'cause he's very...
At around 9:15 a.m., 3 young lions and 3 hyenas were seen cooperating in an attack on a buffalo. But the buffalo refused to surrender. Even after being tackled to the ground, it rose back up, thrashing its sharp horns at the predators, forcing the lions to retreat a few steps. Seizing the moment, the buffalo broke free and ran, chased nearly 700 meters west. In a panic near the junction, it suddenly turned and rammed straight into a parked Audi. The car's front grille was shattered. 2 eyewitnesses, Sabiha and Rehana Mullah, recalled, "We were watching when suddenly the buffalo charged the car. It shook violently. It all happened in seconds." By midday, the lions had withdrawn and the hyenas still lingered. But by 2 p.m., all had vanished. What happened in the end? No one knows. This wasn't just a hunt. It was a raw display of survival instinct and a reminder of the wild's unpredictable chaos. We had just finished brunch when the air was suddenly torn by a panicked bellow echoing from across the Sand River, the unmistakable cry of a buffalo in distress. I turned to my guests and asked, "Do you want to witness this?" No one hesitated. All rushed to the vehicle, ready for an unpredictable encounter. Within minutes, we arrived at the scene. The Kambula Pride, about 22 lions, had encircled a fully grown bull buffalo. It kicked and bellowed, flinging off lions with raw force. Then another buffalo charged in to help, its horns aimed straight at the predators. A clash erupted, dust clouding the air. It was a brave move, but not enough to change the tide. In the end, the bull collapsed in exhaustion. The lions began their feast on the open plain, closing a dramatic chapter of survival in the wild. Largest bulls, nearly 2,000 pounds each, to the front line, forming a defensive wall of hide, horn, and unshakable will. They closed in. One leapt onto the vulnerable bull's flank. But the buffalo warriors refused to surrender. The herd returned. Once, the lion pride launched a sudden attack. Hooves pounded, roars tore through the air. One buffalo was brought down, while the rest of the herd fled, watching anxiously from a distance. A tourist named Colin believed it was all over for the fallen animal. But then, about 20 buffalo returned. Their eyes blazed with determination. They moved in formation, launching a coordinated counterattack. Sharp horns thrust forward. Piercing gazes forced the predators to back off. In the midst of the tension, 2 bull buffalo even locked horns with each other, momentarily forgetting their goal. Yet the resolve of the herd was undeniable. Though the injured buffalo could not rejoin them, what remained was a powerful truth. In the wild, courage and unity can ignite hope, even in the bleakest moments. Colin later recalled, "I had only ever seen scenes like this on National Geographic, but now I saw it with my own eyes and felt incredibly lucky. Watching the buffalo come together to protect one of their own was deeply moving. It felt like they were showing us something profound, that in our hardest times, unity and compassion are the greatest strengths we have." Three lionesses charged like living arrows, targeting a buffalo bull separated from the herd. But instead of finishing it quickly, they aimed to exhaust it. One leapt onto its back, biting into the spine. The other 2 attacked from behind, trying to sever its tendons and bring the giant down. But the buffalo refused to fall. It fought back, swinging its horns in desperation. Its cries echoed across the grassland. The herd turned around, tightening their formation, and charged like a living wall. Powerful thrusts of their horns forced the lions to temporarily retreat. The battle dragged on. The lions returned. The buffalo rallied again. At times, the wounded bull seemed on the brink of collapse, but the others never abandoned it. Just when all seemed lost, another wave of defenders would arrive. Finally, the bull ran out of strength. It collapsed, unable to rise. The lions, exhausted but victorious, settled beside their still-breathing prize. When the lion cubs arrived, the scene shifted. They pounced on the first bites with excitement, while the lionesses panted heavily, watching from a distance. This was more than predator versus prey. It was a testament to the power of unity, the instincts of survival, and the harsh beauty of the wild. As the dust began to settle, a startling sight emerged. A young buffalo, perhaps 8 to 10 months old, pinned down but still alive. Strangely, the 3 adult lionesses, members of the Nahu pride, did not kill it immediately. One of them quietly left the scene and let out a familiar call. From across the dam, 10 lion cubs, no more than 6 months old, appeared and cautiously approached the prey. This was the beginning of a survival lesson. Clumsy pounces, awkward bites, mingled with low growls and instructional nudges from their mothers. At times, the lioness would simulate a neck or throat bite only to release it, demonstrating the kill technique for the cubs to mimic. In that moment, the young buffalo was no longer just a victim. It became a living tool, a vital part of the cub's education at the cost of its life. The scene was both tragic and biologically profound. It served as a stark reminder that in nature, even the harshest acts serve a purpose: the preservation of life. In this 24,000-hectare reserve, where lion and buffalo populations are both dense, moments like these are not uncommon. Yet each time, observers can't help but hold their breath, witnessing instinct, instruction, and the unforgiving beauty of the wild in perfect harmony. Two buffalo calves thrashed helplessly within the tightening circle of a pack of African wild dogs. The scene was staggering claws, fangs, and the gut-wrenching cries of panic shattered the once peaceful morning. There was no warning, no chance to escape. The herd had been scattered chaos spreading like wildfire, and the wild dogs, organized, precise, and merciless, seized every gap to trap their prey. At the center of the maelstrom, the two calves collapsed swiftly, becoming part of a brutal feast. The buffalo herd was fragmented. As some tried to regroup, lead dogs surged forward, triggering a renewed wave of panic. 2 more calves were lost amid the confusion. One group of 4 adult buffalo and a calf was completely isolated, and the young one met the same grim fate.
Another one.
Just when it seemed all was lost, a mother buffalo charged back into the fray, bellowing fiercely, flinging several dogs aside with her horns. For a heartbeat, hope flickered, but it was short-lived. The pack retaliated en masse. Overwhelmed by sheer numbers and speed, the mother was forced to retreat, leaving her calf to fall. In under 30 minutes, 5 calves were taken. The air rang with agonized cries, ragged breathing, and frenzied footsteps, a raw display of both helplessness and desperate defiance. A shocking spectacle, harsh yet true to the law of survival in the wild. Even seasoned guides were stunned by the rare ferocity of the moment. African wild dogs do not hunt alone, they orchestrate their assault like a disciplined army. Divide, distract, destroy. This was not just a hunt, it was a rare glimpse into the lethal precision and pack strength of one of Africa's most efficient predators.
Buffalo's going for it. Going for this.
A pride of lions lay hidden atop a rocky outcrop eyes, locked on every movement below. At 5:15 p.m, a lone elephant calf appeared without its mother. In an instant, the lions charged. Just when it seemed the calf would be brought down, a herd of buffalo emerged, stomping the ground with force, sending dust and dry grass swirling into the air, an unmistakable sign of rage and territorial defiance. One buffalo lowered its head and charged its curved horn, nearly striking a lion. Caught off guard by the fierce retaliation, the lions retreated. Seizing the moment, the elephant calf bolted toward two nearby bull elephants. But regrettably, they did not respond. The lions regrouped, and this time the scene disappeared behind the bush out of sight. This moment is a stark reminder. In the wild, strength doesn't always guarantee safety.
Excuse me. Not going with the buffaloes. Sure. I don't know where the mother.
Suddenly, from beneath the still waters, a massive crocodile lunged upward, clamping down on the snout of a full-grown buffalo cow. A cry of agony echoed across the savannah. The herd froze stunned. But the buffalo refused to surrender. It twisted violently, turning its body and dragging the crocodile out of the water using the very snout it had been bitten on. A battle of strength ensued where survival instincts overpowered pain. While many species thrive during the rainy season, crocodiles struggle. Fewer small prey risk approaching deep waters. Driven by hunger, this crocodile gambled on a larger target. But the price was a humbling defeat. As the crocodile finally let go, the buffalo stepped back and the reptile silently slipped back into the depths.
Yeah,
so
take that,
dumb.
man.
Where is he at?
A faint newborn cry rose across the savannah. It was the trembling call of a just-born buffalo calf. Its tiny body still wobbled, barely able to stand, yet danger had already arrived. A lioness emerged without warning. She crept forward, eyes sharp and unblinking, as if she'd found the perfect, effortless target. But in that critical moment, the mother buffalo charged in. No hesitation, no second thought. A powerful thrust, a decisive push. The lioness was thrown back, forced to retreat. The calf was spared, shielded by the raw strength of instinct and a mother's unmatched devotion.
If she doesn't want to see us, she should turn around.
Zeg, gooi hem rond, zeg, gooi hem rond.
A flick of dust, then chaos erupted. The wildebeest hadn't even taken its first step when three lionesses burst from the grass like living arrows. No warning growl, no rustling, only speed and instinct tightening around the savannah. The chase began in silence, punctuated only by the pounding hearts of hunter and hunted. But the wildebeest wasn't ready to surrender. In the chaos, a sharply curved horn hooked into the hind leg of a lioness. A roar broke the tension, not from the predator, but from the jolt of unexpected pain. For a breathless moment, both were locked, hunter and prey, tangled in survival. Then, summoning extraordinary strength, the wildebeest broke free and walked away, leaving its pursuer with a lesson etched in pain. A rare reversal. A glimpse of nature's unpredictable script where survival instinct can outmatch even the fiercest claws.
Hij jaagt die nieuws rond. think so.
Steady on.
Beneath the scorching savanna sun, 3 lions, 2 lionesses, and 1 male rested quietly in the tall grass. Peace reigned until an unexpected visitor disrupted the calm. A white rhinoceros approached grazing without noticing the predators at first. But as it drew closer, the unfamiliar scent put it on alert. 1 lioness panicked and fled. The other attempted an ambush only to fail. Turning, the rhino came face to face with the male lion. The big cat didn't back down, inching forward as if to test its odds. But the rhino didn't hesitate. 2 horn thrusts, delivered with precision, missed by mere inches. Realizing the danger, the lion turned and ran. The encounter ended swiftly, yet it left a lasting impression. In the wild, the line between courage and recklessness is razor thin.
Action. Check.
Stop now. Here he goes.
A lion lunged at the mother buffalo, no hesitation. She positioned herself in front of her calf, shielding it with her own body, though every step betrayed the pain of old wounds. Her weary eyes never left the predator, but her strength was fading. 2 male lions, moving in silent coordination, exploited this vulnerability, each step deliberate, no energy wasted.
I'm shaking.
The attack unfolded in an instant. 1 lion clamped onto the mother's side jaws, locked with ruthless precision. The other slipped past, targeting the calf. Despite her desperate resistance, the mother buffalo's power waned. Every heave of her horns, every attempt to pivot only drained her faster. Her calf cried out, not just a plea for help, but a haunting echo across the open plain. This moment didn't just showcase brutality, it revealed the calculated tactics and relentless determination of apex predators. In nature's harsh order, a single pause can mean the end. On the parched savanna, a mud pit became an unexpected trap for a fully grown black rhinoceros. It had stumbled in its massive body, sinking deep with only its horn raised high in defiance. The rhino thrashed and struggled, each labored breath mixing with the squelch of mud beneath its weight. Three male lions hidden nearby sensed an opportunity. Normally, a rhino in its prime is one of the most formidable and dangerous creatures on the savanna. But now, the advantage seemed to shift. They approached slowly, not in a frenzy, but with calculation. Each step was measured, gauging the rhino's response. The trapped giant let out a guttural growl, tossing its horn defiantly. Even stuck, it hadn't lost its majesty. One lion dared to advance, testing the waters with a light swipe. The rhino still had the strength to resist, but couldn't move. The lions realized time was on their side. Yet the encounter didn't unfold as expected. After several minutes of watching and prodding, the lions seemed to conclude that their target, though trapped, remained too dangerous. Quietly, they backed off, leaving the mud pit and the survivor behind. In the wild, opportunity doesn't always lead to conquest. Sometimes sheer will can turn the tide and grant a second chance at life. A lone buffalo suddenly found itself approached by two fully grown male lions. With no herd nearby, it faced a stark choice: stand its ground or flee. In a tense moment, The buffalo struck back with a decisive charge, forcing the lions to retreat. But the boldest move was still to come. The buffalo charged directly toward a nearby tourist vehicle. A loud bang echoed the tire had burst. The sudden noise startled the lions, sending them scattering. The buffalo had cleverly used the presence of humans to shift the balance. It was a vivid reminder. In the wild, survival depends not only on strength, but also on boldness and wit. A surprising act, a memorable moment, and life was reclaimed in the blink of an eye. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a pack of 16 African wild dogs launched a high-stakes chase across the southern plains, targeting a herd of Cape buffalo. The hunt unfolded with intensity, strategic, coordinated, and unrelenting. Without waiting for the perfect moment, the dogs took the initiative, forcing the buffalo into defensive chaos. They darted in circles, surged forward, then retreated, sowing confusion. Their tactics were not random. They selected their target, disrupted the herd's cohesion, and isolated the weakest individual. This strategy, refined through thousands of years of evolution, played out flawlessly. As panic spread, a mature female buffalo became separated. The dogs immediately shifted focus, initiating a full-on pursuit. They attacked from behind, precise bites aimed at the hamstrings and thighs, pulling with astonishing force. Some buffalo tried to intervene, but the dogs split their ranks, launching counterattacks to block the rescuers. The chase lasted over 20 minutes. Every leap, every lunge teetered between life and death. The air was filled with bellows, growls, and the roar of dust. It was not a scene for the faint-hearted, but it was a masterclass in cooperative hunting and raw survival instinct. A safari guide later recounted, "We tracked the pack from the camp. That evening, they drove the herd into the bush and isolated a full-grown female. The hunt lasted over 20 minutes. It was spectacular. In my 16 years guiding, I'd never seen anything like it." The lion lunges forward, but it was never expected. It had just made the biggest mistake of its hunting life. Standing before it isn't a helpless prey, but a warrior, nearly a ton in weight, bearing horns like twin axes and a heart that never backs down. The first blow lands before the lion can even react. A roar bursts out in pain. Then the massive body is lifted off the ground, hurled through the grass, and slammed onto the cracked earth. No more dominance, no more control, only disorientation, and a furious force still charging forward. In Africa, not every pounce marks the beginning of victory, and not every prey is easy to bring down. The buffalo, an animal even lions must think twice before choosing a target, because one wrong move can cost a life. When cornered, it doesn't flee. It turns, faces its attacker, and fights back. This is no longer a hunt. This is a battle of honor, where the predator's pride is tested and a primal rage awakens in the eyes of a prey that refuses to surrender. Think you know how this ends? Think again, because what's about to unfold will keep your eyes locked on the screen. When a hungry pride of lions set their sights on a frail buffalo calf, It should have been over in moments. But something unexpected happened. The mother was still there. I stood frozen as she didn't hesitate for a single second. She charged straight into the lions, flinging away the predators who were trying to drag her baby away. Those blows weren't just powered by muscle, but by something far stronger, the sacred force of motherhood. In that moment, the atmosphere shifted. The adult buffalo nearby felt it too. Something was rising, one by one. They stepped forward. Then, all at once, the herd surged in, forming a living wall, ready to fight. Through the swirling dust of this survival clash, even the apex predators, the lions, were forced to retreat in the face of a power no one saw coming. Unity and unbreakable kinship. This wasn't just a rescue. It was a wild plains epic, where I witnessed with my own eyes a mother, a herd, and a bond strong enough to tip the balance of the wild. I just witnessed one of the most spectacular moments in the wild, and you'll want to re-watch this footage carefully. A lion, confident in its ambush, lunged at what seemed like an easy target, a lone buffalo on the open grassland. But this time, nature rewrote the script. The buffalo didn't flee. It stood its ground, turned with fierce resolve, and charged straight at the attacker. In the very next second, the lion was launched skyward, flipping through the air before crashing down, completely caught off guard by the buffalo's relentless counterattack. In a flash, the hunter became the hunter. The oppressed becomes the oppressor. That old phrase felt strikingly real at this moment. This wasn't just a fight. It was a raw, living symbol of nature's surprises and justice. Arrogance, it seems, can be humbled by courage. Was it luck? Or has the buffalo's instinct to survive evolved beyond the brute force of its predators? This was just one of countless twists the wild has to offer. What do you think? If it had been a different lion, would the outcome have changed? Watch the full video to uncover the rest of nature's surprises. After hours of tracking the Kambula lion pride at Mala Mala Game Reserve, we witnessed a breathtaking showdown. A lone buffalo bull was ambushed. One lion bit, another clamped down on its leg, and a third leapt onto its back. But instead of collapsing, the bull fought back with fierce resistance. It thrashed and charged wildly, throwing the lions into disarray. Then, at the perfect moment, the entire buffalo herd returned. With overwhelming force, they stormed in, flinging lions into the air to save their fallen comrade. The ground trembled. The sound echoed across the plains, a stunning counterattack that forced the predators to retreat, revealing the formidable power of buffalo when united. A lone lion attempts to take down a wild buffalo. It creeps closer and strikes with the first bite. But the buffalo doesn't flee. Instead, it turns, lowers its head, and counters with a sudden attack. The charge lands like a hammer blow. The lion is flung into the air and crashes to the ground in pain. The hunter becomes the one who runs. This isn't just a clash, it's nature's warning. Never underestimate the African buffalo. A lion pride, sharp and disciplined, spots a golden opportunity when a lone buffalo is separated from the herd. In an instant, they launch a pincer formation, surrounding, closing in, and delivering powerful, coordinated strikes. The buffalo collapses under the force of their collective assault. But nature is never that simple. From a distance, a brown wave rises. The herd returns. Dozens of muscular buffaloes surge forward, their bellows echoing through the late afternoon sky. No longer fleeing prey, they are warriors coming home. The lions waver. Some flee in panic. Others cling to their prize. But the herd charges with fury and precision. One mighty blow sends a lion tumbling through the air. Does the fallen buffalo still have a chance? No one knows for sure. But one truth is undeniable. When individual strength is outmatched by the power of the group, even apex predators are forced to retreat. Once again, nature delivers a lesson. No victory is absolute. And in the fragile balance of survival, unity can shift the scales of power. A mother buffalo and her calf fall into the crosshairs of a hungry lion pride. The lions move quickly, surrounding them, coordinating with precision, applying pressure on the calf. Every attack targets the weakest link. But instead of fleeing, the mother charges forward, head down, horns aimed, deflecting each blow. Dust swirls. Roars tear through the dry, scorching air. This isn't just instinct, it's the fierce love of a mother standing at the edge of survival. Still, the odds are overwhelming. The calf is brought down in an uneven battle. Yet the mother doesn't give up. She fights to the very end, then breaks free and retreats to the herd. It's a heartbreaking but powerful testament to maternal devotion in the wild, where even sacrifice takes the shape of courage. Once again, nature reminds us, the strongest doesn't always win. Sometimes, the fiercest force is a heart that refuses to surrender.
You're gonna come back and take us to this buff.
On a scorching midday in the South African grasslands, silence was broken by the crunch of hooves over dry grass. A lone buffalo bull, perhaps sensing something amiss, cautiously approached a patch of shrubs. There, a lioness lay resting, gaunt and exhausted. She wasn't hunting, just waiting for one final chance. But when the buffalo got too close, instinct kicked in. The lioness lunged, but it was too late. The buffalo, recognizing her weakness, struck back. With a single, brutal charge, it flung the predator into the air like a toy. The lioness was lucky to land safely and escape, but her frail frame said it all. She no longer had the strength to fight. And in nature, that means the survival clock is ticking. It was a tragic moment, but also a rare one, when the weak is no longer prey, but becomes nature's final verdict. I watched as a pride of lions lay in wait beneath the trees, eyes locked on every movement near the water's edge. A herd of impalas approached to drink. The lions sprang into action, but the impalas were too fast. Then, an old buffalo wandered into view, becoming their new target. The buffalo bolted into the water to escape, but from beneath the surface, a crocodile suddenly lunged. Caught between two deadly predators, the buffalo panicked and turned back toward land. The lions were waiting. The chase was on. But this buffalo wasn't alone. Its call rang out across the plains, and from a distance, the herd thundered in. Dozens of buffalo charged in unison, launching a coordinated counterattack. Not only did they rescue their companion, they sent the lions fleeing in chaos. The scene before me, intense, breathless, and deeply moving, was a powerful reminder of what unity can achieve in the wild. Out here, nothing is guaranteed, but sometimes miracles happen, not because of one strong individual, but because of the strength of the many. a dramatic instantly turn into a nightmare.
No, well, she's dead. She's in the water now. No, there she... Oh.
A seemingly peaceful afternoon by the waterhole, hundreds of buffalo gathered to drink, suddenly became the center of a terrifying spectacle. A lone lioness was spotted within the herd's territory. A commotion on the outskirts signaled that something was wrong. Within seconds, chaos erupted. Guided by a collective survival instinct, the buffalo herd turned and attacked. Furious horn thrusts came from every direction like crashing waves. The lioness was tossed into the air, slammed to the ground, and trampled in a relentless storm of aggression. The camera captured every moment. The once mighty predator now lay motionless at the water's edge. Another lion from her pride approached and sat beside her, as if waiting for a miracle. This wasn't just a failed hunt, it was a powerful reminder. In the wild, the strength of the many, driven by instinct, can overturn even the laws of the food chain. Imagine standing frozen on the edge of a cliff, surrounded by a wilderness so still it chills you. Below, a storm of survival erupts. Dust billows, hooves pounding, and roars echoing from hundreds of buffalo charging toward the waterhole, while 30 lions wait in the shadows. At Cheetah Springs, Mana Pools, Zimbabwe, David Pinkenell, his wife and friends were suddenly thrust into a nearly surreal scene. A full-scale ambush as a pride of lions attacked a desperate herd of buffalo, parched and drawn to the last water source in the dry season. It was no coincidence. They were in the right place, at the right moment, where instinct clashed with survival in a primal showdown. The attack began like a detonation. The herd scattered. Calves were separated. Roars and the thunder of hooves filled the valley. The lions didn't strike at random. They moved like a unit, locking onto the weakest targets. 10 minutes of chaos and tension ended as the buffalo were pushed uphill in retreat. It seemed over, but just then, 2 male lions abandoned the prize and darted after 2 wounded calves. With no protection left, the end came in seconds. 2 swift, surgical takedowns, ruthless, precise. David shared, "I couldn't believe what I was seeing. After 150 days on safari, I had never witnessed a kill. But in just 7 minutes, I saw 4. They had ventured out during a global pandemic, and in return, witnessed nature at its rawest, unscripted best. This was no ordinary hunt. This was a clash of strategy, instinct, and survival, where every leap, every roar could be the last for the one who falters. If you crave nature's truest moments, no scripts, no actors, just the wild as it is, this is your world." In the heart of wild Africa, a herd of buffalo grazed along a dry riverbed. Among them was a newborn calf, frail and still learning to walk. As the herd spread out, only the mother and calf remained behind. Unbeknownst to them, a leopard lay hidden in the reeds nearby, silently waiting for the right moment. The calf seemed like an easy target, but as the leopard prepared to strike, the mother sensed something was wrong. She stepped closer, sniffed the air, and finally spotted the predator in the grass. Without hesitation, she charged straight into the hiding spot, forcing the leopard to flee. But in a cruel twist, the leopard's escape route led directly toward a lioness that had just arrived. Suddenly, chaos unfolded. The lioness changed course and lunged at the calf. The mother tried to intervene, but the calf, still too weak, vanished into the bushes with the predator. I don't know what happened next, but it's hard to imagine a newborn calf surviving without its mother's milk. Strangely, the herd never returned. No reinforcements came. Only the mother and her calf remained alone in the harsh spiral of survival.
Here you go.
The buffalo, wounded after an attack by a group of young lions, still fought back. It bellowed continuously, desperately calling for help from its herd. Amazingly, a few buffalo turned around. They charged forward as if ready to rescue their companion. But when they sensed the threat from the surrounding predators, they quickly retreated. Hope vanished in an instant. At that moment, a coalition of male lions from another pride appeared. Their thunderous roars and imposing presence sent the young lions scattering. Exhausted but alive, the buffalo struggled to rise. For a brief moment, it seemed fate had offered a second chance. But the silence was only temporary. The male lions hadn't come to save. They came to finish the hunt. They closed in swiftly and brought down the dying buffalo. From being attacked to a near rescue, then falling victim once more, the buffalo's journey of survival ended in harsh finality. In nature, turning points rarely arrive the way we expect. An unusual rustle in the dry grass made the buffalo herd halt. Over 100 individuals immediately shifted formation, their curved horns turning in unison toward the sound, like a reflex honed through generations of survival. The lions emerged, but this time they were no longer the dominant force. Before them stood a wall of muscle, dust, and furious eyes. As the chase began, chaos broke loose. A second buffalo herd didn't flee. They counterattacked, driving the lions into a dry riverbed where the first herd was waiting. The lions were caught between two survival front lines. One young lion panicked, scrambling up a small bush to escape the charging horns. But the bush was too small. Repeated horn strikes left it dangling, exposed. The horns showed no mercy, not even for vulnerable spots. For nearly an hour, roars and the sound of horns pounding wood echoed through the valley. When the buffalo finally dispersed, the lion descended, retreating quietly, its eyes still wide with shock. In the wild, the harshest lessons don't always come from claws, but from the wrath of those once hunted. After some time observing, I spotted a herd of buffalo grazing in the distance. But one individual, a female buffalo, had been left behind. She lay resting, seemingly exhausted. I never expected that this delay would lead to one of the most remarkable sights I'd ever witnessed. Just as I was about to leave, I noticed 3 male lions emerging from afar. One moved stealthily from behind a rock, creeping in. The other 2 approached head-on, revealing themselves to unsettle the buffalo. As she sprang to her feet, I realized her front leg was broken. Tension surged. The atmosphere in the vehicle shifted from calm curiosity to anxious anticipation. No one had expected a routine buffalo sighting to turn into a real hunt. The buffalo fought back fiercely, lunging and spinning. But the 3 powerful, seasoned predators didn't let the opportunity slip. In just a few short minutes, the trap closed in. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, the lion's dinner was secured. A brutally honest conclusion to the cycle of life. That moment, with all its suspense, heartbreak, and raw intensity, became one of the most unforgettable wildlife encounters of my life. A story not just of nature's harshness, but a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected things happen right at the very end. What began as a seemingly calm safari drive turned into a heart-pounding wildlife spectacle. At first, I spotted a lioness resting with 3 cubs in the distance. On the opposite side of the road, 2 bull buffaloes stood quietly. The scene remained tranquil until a male lion appeared and suddenly began chasing one of the buffalo. I quickly turned my vehicle to follow the chase. Within seconds, the action unfolded right beside me. The panicked buffalo dashed across the road and collided head-on with a parked safari vehicle. It wasn't a counterattack, just a disoriented crash, a moment that startled both me and the pursuing lion. The loud metallic thud broke the tension of the hunt, buying the buffalo just enough time to escape. I let out a breath of relief, amazed that the buffalo had survived. I had silently been rooting for it, but never expected such a dramatic twist to be its saving grace. A completely unexpected turn, reminding us that in nature, nothing is certain, and sometimes chaos itself becomes the path to survival. I was making my way toward the waterhole when strange sounds echoed through the hills, the high-pitched calls of hyenas. Something told me this wasn't just noise. As I arrived, I saw 2 hyenas calling frantically, signaling their clan about 6 lions closing in on an old buffalo. The buffalo had already been knocked down, its hind legs paralyzed. Targeted strikes had brought it to its knees. It was a dagger boy, an old male buffalo that often lives alone, making it an easy target for predators. But this buffalo wasn't giving up. It fought for nearly 2 hours, using every ounce of strength to crawl toward the water, hoping the lake might force the lions to back off. And then it plunged in. The lions hesitated, momentarily letting go. But the hope didn't last. One lioness eventually stepped into the water, biting down on the buffalo's leg and haunch, dragging it back in a final quiet end to the struggle. It was an afternoon I'll never forget, a moment where tragedy and courage met on the shores of Matchaloo Dam. What seemed like a peaceful afternoon at Mala Mala Reserve took a sudden turn. A buffalo herd was moving calmly when 2 lionesses from one pride appeared, quietly guiding the herd toward 2 male lions from another pride lying in wait up ahead. A flawless trap had been set. The chosen buffalo fell into the ambush without time to react. 4 lions, 2 lionesses, 2 males worked in silent coordination, sharing the prey as if they were allies. But nature always has its twists. Another lioness, belonging to the male's pride, arrived, and instantly chaos erupted. Roars and blows echoed through the tall grass. At that very moment, the buffalo, thought to be doomed, quietly stood up and slipped away from the scene. No limping, no serious injuries. It vanished into the plains, leaving the 4 predators still locked in a furious dispute. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be the first to witness the next untold chapter where every creature has a story and every heartbeat writes a memory. Next time, you might not just watch, you might feel the wild pulse of nature itself.